Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome, my dear friends. This is Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes, and I'm thrilled you're with us today. We haven't done much with dreams on Seek Reality, largely because I almost never remember any of my own dreams. I've tried. I can't. I'm a dream illiterate. However, we do know about communication dreams, and I'll just remind you of those. Those that we used to think were dead will come to us in dreams that feel more real, actually, than most dreams usually feel. Communication dreams often convey a message, and they remain with us forever, but they're rare. I've had 2 communication dreams in my life, one from my father and one from my horse, and his was spectacular. We recently had animal communicator Karen Anderson as our Seek Reality guest, and I talked then about my beloved horse Bo's wonderful communication dream that he gave me a few nights after his death. I still treasure it. I also had a reading with a dream interpreter. Someone gave it to me as a gift not long ago about a series of dreams I had had decades ago, back when I was still remembering dreams, and that was interesting. So I'm starting to open my mind up a bit. I'm coming to see now that there may be more to dreams than I had ever suspected. So when the opportunity presented itself to share with you a genuine expert on dreams, I was really eager to visit with today's guest. Kathleen O'Keefe Kavanos is a prominent dream expert whose recent book is called Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. It's co-authored by a physician named Larry Burke, and her book even carries it forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, who's famous, and he wrote Love, Medicine, and Miracles. So this is a well-blurbed book, and I think the premise is extraordinary, that our dreams will tell us before anybody else can tell us that we're sick. Welcome, Kat. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Roberta. I'm glad I'm here, too. This is going to be like a party, a visitation party. So all your listeners, don't be surprised if you get a visitation dream tonight. We've opened up those lines. Oh, my goodness.
You think that might even happen to me? Oh, my. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I've had 2 in my entire life. That's it. But I'm very interested in this now, and learning more about something I really have tried to avoid my whole life. So first, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, your little background for our listeners? How did you start in this field, and where were you before?
Well, Roberta, if you had told me, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago that I was going to be a dream expert on dreams that can save your life and precognitive dreams, and that I was going to write a book with a Duke University, Dr. Larry Burke, and that our book was going to win the Nautilus Book Award and go into audio, audibles, and also be translated into Italian, I would tell you were nuts. I would say, I don't know what you're smoking, but either give me some or go away. But what happened was I was just, playing at life, basically. I would get up in the morning, and my biggest concern was what tennis outfit I was going to wear to go play tennis, and then we would all try and figure out where we were going to go eat. My husband spoiled me rotten, took such good care of me that he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He offered to pay me more to stay home than to work.
Are you serious?
And travel with him.
More like him back home, we could check and see if there are any more like that. I mean, that's a very rare husband, I have to tell you.
Yeah, so then fast forward, not very many years after we were married, and I started having these recurrent dreams. That's a dream that you keep having over and over and over again. Yes. And in my case, Roberta, I would be having my regular nightly dream that you wouldn't bother to remember because it wasn't really all that important. And all of a sudden the dream would freeze while I was in it. And that would kind of shock me. And then my dream would develop a window, like a window on your computer, which would then turn into a door. And through that door would walk these Franciscan monks
Oh,
yeah,
my word.
and it would get my attention. And
Yes.
at that point, I couldn't forget the dream, no matter what I did.
Right.
And they came up to me and they said, "You need to come with us. We have something to tell you." And they took me, Roberta, into this room between realms, is what I called it. It's an area of neither the living nor the dead, but the living and the dead can visit there. It's like a
Yes.
waiting room.
Yes.
And these monks told me I had breast cancer and to go back to my doctors, whom I had just seen for a mammogram, blood test, and physical. And this went on for 3 months, during which
Wow.
time I kept having these same recurrent dreams. And it turned out that finally I convinced my doctor to do exploratory surgery because the monk said nothing else was going to work. And I was in stage 2 breast cancer with it in my lymph nodes. And that
Wow.
was the beginning of everything.
And they couldn't tell? The doctors could not tell?
No,
Wow.
and they couldn't tell with recurrence because I'm a 3-time breast cancer survivor. My dreams diagnosed it every single time. And the second time, Roberta, it was a 9 by 11 centimeter area, and they missed it again with mammograms.
Oh, my word. Well, that's a little alarming, speaking as someone who is similarly equipped, and my goodness. So does this happen fairly often? They can't find
30% of women who have large breasts, and I did, find that mammograms give them false negatives. Not a false positive, but a false negative. In other words, they miss it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and so I just want to kind of get this in here. If you're listening and you are a woman who goes for mammograms and you do have large breasts, always ask for an MRI every now and then because 30% of women have missed mammograms, and it can be life-threatening.
Wow, that is amazing. So that made you realize dreams are kind of an important thing. If they can help you with this, wow. So then you became interested in studying dreams?
Well, I started to become interested in it to a degree because I needed to stay alive.
Yeah, kind of basic,
so
right?
I kind of had to study them. But you know what, Roberta, there wasn't much studying to it because in my dreams, my precognitive dreams, my lucid dreams, which is what they became, as soon as I'd see the window pop up, I'd go, oh, no, I'm dreaming that I'm dreaming again.
Oh,
It was like that tell. And I found that people would speak to me just as we're speaking in the dream. And there were no real signs or symbols other than a feather that one of the monks gave me to use as a sword to cut through all the red tape the doctors were throwing in front of me.
Fun. I remember this story from your book. This is fun. Wow.
Yeah. So otherwise they were talking just like we are.
Yeah, wow. People are wondering, where were these meetings taking place? Well, they were taking place in the astral. We all travel in the astral at night, and the dead frequently meet with us there. I mean, you think you haven't seen Grandma in many years. You maybe saw her last night. You just don't remember it. And we meet with our guides there as well. So these clearly, were they your guides? Did you figure out who these monks were?
At first, no, but then I realized these were my spirit guides, and up until that time, I'm sure that I remember them vaguely showing up in dreams every now and then. Like I remember a dream from when I was like 18 where I was walking in a garden with a monk and asking myself, what am I doing in a garden with a monk? And he was telling me about elephants and the plants in there. So and an alligator. I remember that. There was an elephant, an alligator, and plants.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I saw them then, but they were teaching me. They were not in the process of saving my life.
Wow, that is so much fun. So are they actually monks, or did they just sort of dress like monks so you'd know who they were each time you saw them? Or what was the monk thing?
I don't know, Roberta. People ask me all the time, why monks? Why didn't you have like an ancient Asian guy or some talking dog? And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is they definitely got my attention because I'm not even Catholic. So to have Franciscan monks walk into my dreams with their hoods up so I can't even see their faces, the first thing that jumped into my mind, and it probably for a lot of your listeners, is, oh my God, did they have a sickle? Was it the Grim Reaper? But they did not. They had on their monk habitat, they had on their robe and the belt that's made out of rope and their sandals, and that's all I really saw.
But you couldn't see their faces? They're monks?
No.
Oh, my word. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe that was so you would recognize them from your childhood. You'd be able to tell these were the same beings, possibly. I don't know, but they do interesting things, our guides do. They appear to us in interesting ways, and sometimes it's a long time before we can figure out just why they're doing what they're doing. But I think I'm confident they were your guides, and I think they were telling you not only that you had cancer, but that you had a gift that you needed to share. So often that's what our guides are telling us. So that is beautiful. How did you learn more about dreams then? Because it's a whole field, it turns out. I didn't even realize that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wrote my first book, Surviving Cancerland, The Intuitive Aspects of Healing, because I thought, I can't really keep this information to myself, because there are other women out there who are being told by their doctors to go home that they're healthy, and they're having these recurrent nightmares, and they're going back to their doctors and they're being given pills to help them sleep better.
Are you telling me other women were having this happen? And so it's like a phenomenon. It's not just you.
No. Oh my goodness. No. I mean, in the book, Larry and I wrote together, we have 30 plus dreams. The back book of that book, the backbone of that book are his 20 women who he did the research, the breast cancer dream research on at Duke University Medical. So no, I'm not alone. I thought I was all alone.
But so were you the first one he found who had this experience, or was this something he was already studying when he met you?
He was already studying it. He had his research going, and so then he needed some more people for his research group. He needed 20. I think he had 19. He was looking for that last one, and he came across my information on the internet and called me and said, will you be in my research group? And I said, well, sure. And so out of the 20 of us, Roberta, only one did not make it. And we all had advanced breast cancer. Nobody was like in the early stages, which in the book there are other people who are in early stages. But this group had more advanced breast cancer. And the only one that died, Roberta, and I almost hate to say this, is the one who listened to her doctor and went home and waited 6 months.
Isn't that appalling? When you think about it, isn't that appalling? Why, he just didn't believe her dreams? Was that the problem?
Yes, he didn't believe her dreams, and she was a nurse. And a lot of nurses, they really, really revere their doctors. They really believe everything that they say. And the doctor said, look, we did this test. There's nothing there. It's just a concern that you're just having nightmares. Just ignore them. Go home. Come back in 6 months. We'll check you again. And when she did, it had metastasized through her whole body.
Oh my Lord! And the problem was these were women who were fuller figured, larger breasts, and therefore the mammogram was not able to really pick up the earlier stage. Oh my goodness! Is that awful?
And you want to hear something else that's probably going to make you scream your head off?
Oh, I try not to do that. Right. What?
When after the first, my first cancer was finally found with the surgery, with exploratory surgery, they kept using mammograms again, which had missed it the first time, and I kept saying, why are you using mammograms when they missed it the first time? And their answer was, we are the best mammogram center in the world, and mammograms are only as good as the people who give them and the people who read them. And then they missed 9 by 11 centimeter area, which was lobular cancer, really dangerous, the one that Elizabeth Edwards died from, in a much smaller one, stage 2. And because they were using mammograms again instead of using an MRI.
Yeah, that is very upsetting. It's I'm closer to the medical community than I've ever let people know. My husband is a retired pathologist, so I know from doctors, and I know from how we respect doctors, and maybe that's not always the smartest thing to do, because sometimes they believe their own press, which is something none of us should do. And he's a sweetie, but that's because he's been retired for so long. Oh my!
Well, and I tell people all the time, I wouldn't be alive if it weren't for my doctors. Really, the treatment they gave me once we got it was perfect, and I also wouldn't be alive without my spirit guides. So when you take dreams and you mix it with modern medicine, you come out with a healing that's greater than the sum of its individual parts.
Oh, how beautifully that was said. That is so true. So we should be listening. Our body, our guides, knowing our bodies, will tell us things. Okay, well, let's stop and ask, what are dreams anyway? What is a dream?
Well, there are so many. Nobody really has a definition for a dream. Any more than they can really tell you about the anatomy of a spirit. But there are different ideas. Some people say, well, dreams are just random firings of your brain once you go to sleep. But I say our dreams are a gift. They're a gift from God with which we were born. And when we go to sleep, our dreams become sacred doorways to the divine. And through that divine travels our spirit guides and our guardian angels. And we were all born with spirit guides and guardian angels. We're their job, and they take that job very seriously. We're the only job they have. And we are a combination of mind, body, spirit. And in order to keep the body well, the spirit and the mind have to connect with where we came from, the divine. And we do that through dreams.
So you believe dreams are very important then, are an important part of our lives?
Absolutely. I believe that they're our GPS for staying on our life purpose. And by the way, Roberta, we were all born with a purpose. Even if our parents tell us we happened in the back seat of that old Ford,
right?
It wasn't accidentally. It was accidentally on purpose. And so our dreams keep us on that right path as we're going through life, because life is confusing and you can get lost very easily.
Okay, well then, I mean, this is true. I have memories of childhood dreams. That's how long I've remembered them. But for the past 20-some years, except for those communication dreams, and there were only 2 of them, I really don't remember my dreams. Why?
Sometimes there's a number of reasons.
And Kat and I still don't remember them.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it could be a number of reasons. Number one, it could be hormonal change. Sometimes women have problems remembering dreams when they have hormonal changes. Another one is, and I tell this to people all the time, maybe you don't need to. Remember, Roberta, you're very connected with the spirit realm. And so you may not need an actual dream. You may be just downloading information, channeling information. You don't really need to go into the dream world to do that. So rather than doing dream work and waking up tired because you've been working so hard in the dream realm, you actually get to sleep because you do all your work during the day.
I suppose. I mean, I know I meet with my guides at night because routinely they'll leave me messages in the morning. But having I used to enjoy my dreams. I don't have any now. So maybe it is because I'm being more efficient. I just don't know for sure. But
maybe you need to set your intention. I have my So Dream acronym that I use to help people remember dreams, and one of them, the first letter S, is set your intention. Say, I want to remember my dreams tonight. I want to remember them. When you're lying down in bed, you've got your head on the pillow and you're getting ready to go to sleep. Maybe even write it down on a piece of paper and put it under your pillow so you can dream or sleep on that intention, and read it off the paper with your eyes, because your eyes are the windows to your soul, and your soul will carry it over into your dream realm and see if you remember your dream. But
do you think that the fact that I don't remember them may be coming from my guides directly, because I'm always in communication with my guides, and although they never tell me why I don't dream, it may be that maybe they're preventing it. Maybe they just feel.
It could be. It's certainly possible. I know that when I was working so deeply with my guides that I could hear them during the day, I could hear them speak to me like we're speaking right now, just as clear as a bell. I remember I went in again to have my mammogram checked with the radiologist right there. They took the mammogram, then I go in and have it checked, and he said, Mrs. Canavas, congratulations, it's your 5-year period, and you are cancer-free. Go home. And my guide orbed right into the room and said, you tell him to look right here. And my guide pointed. Yeah, and I was thinking, tell me you are not here. And so I did. I pointed to this spot on the mammography, and I said, what about right here? And he turned in his chair and he looked at me and he said, that's not the breast that had the cancer. It's healthy. Go home. And that's when I went down to L2, down in the lower level to radiology, and I said, I want an MRI, and by the way, I'm not leaving till I get it.
Oh, good for you. You've got to advocate for yourself sometimes if you're a patient.
Yes,
That's for sure. Oh, wow. So was that cancer too? You had cancer there?
Yes, that was the one that was a 9 by 11 centimeter. And they missed it. They couldn't seem to see it, but my guide saw it right there on the mammogram, and he pointed to it, and I pointed to it, and the doctor looked at it and said, still can't see anything. So that's why we need to connect with our guides.
Yes, and what a wonderful thing you're doing. I mean, they have given you the gift of a wonderful thing you can do for so many people. People are listening to us speaking now, whose lives are going to be changed by the fact that you are telling them these things. I mean, this is just beautiful. And there are people listening now who are saying, "Why can't I don't know my guides." Well, we're I hear from people a lot now because I talk about my own guides so frequently, and we're doing a series on a blog post on RobertaGrimes.com as we are at this moment. I mean, it'll be in the past by the time you hear this probably, but we talk about them there. And if you want to know more about how you can connect with your guides, don't hesitate to send me a contact through RobertaGrimes.com and say, hey, I need to know this stuff, because you do need to know this stuff. Mm-hmm. The vibration of this planet is rising as we speak. This is being done by people who are far above our pay grade. People not in bodies, but it's going to be part of that for us to connect more with our guides, and it's going to be much easier than it ever was. You'll be able to do the things that Kat is doing and that I do with Thomas. And so, it's like the train's getting ready to leave the station. We've all got to get on board. This is the new age, literally. All the new age nonsense, well, that was just prelude. Now we are really going to come to understand the truth about who and what we actually are, and our guides are the key to that. So how perfect that that's what happened to you. This is amazing and wonderful.
No, thank you.
So do you now help other people who have dreams and want to know, about their dreams? Because there are some people who do that. Is that what you do, or what do you do?
Yes, I also do dream therapy, and I've been contacted by some people to actually do some dream therapy with people. And in both of my books, I think I've got cases where I helped people with their dreams for dream therapy. And let me tell you something, Roberta. Dream therapy is amazing. You can use lucid dreams to go back and fix something in your past overnight. It saves you a ton of money and a ton of time.
Those are the two things we don't have enough of. So yes. That is really wonderful. So is this something that others do, or is this something you're working on yourself that you've learned how to do?
Well, I've learned how to do it. I've helped so many other people do it as well. Yes, I do dream therapy for other people, guide them through their dreams to come up with the answers to their own life purpose, or why they're having that dream, or to solve issues that they might have with passed over loved ones. That's usually one of the biggest ones. They're having issues with somebody else who died, and they have unresolved issues, or they have a broken heart. Dreams are amazing at mending hearts. So, if you've lost your loved one and you feel like your heart has just dropped to your toes, your dreams can help mend your heart because they can come and talk to you. In your dreams, you're only a dream away from them.
That is so true. It's a whole thing in the field where I practice, which is trying to understand the greater reality. Communication dreams are a whole thing. And if you dream about someone you love and you wonder, gee, was that a communication dream? Usually there is a message in them, although often it's not a spoken message. But if you still remember that dream, the night after it happened, that was a communication dream, because most dreams will fade, middle of the day or sooner. But my two are years ago now, and I still remember them as vividly as I did the next morning. So, all right. So one of the things you talk about is dream journaling, and that's important. Tell us about that.
Well, if you dream journal, what you just talked about happening, having your dreams disappear won't happen. As soon as you wake up, if you write your dream down, even if you think it's nothing, it's not an important dream, it's really possible that what you had was a precognitive dream. And then 4 or 5 days, or maybe even 4 or 5 weeks later, boom, you see the dream come through into your waking world. And the signs and symbols you saw in the dream that you had, that precognitive dream, suddenly show up in your waking world. And that's called validation. And now you know that you were able to communicate with your spirit guides. They took you on the time continuum that Einstein talked about all the time, and showed you a bit of the future. Why? Because there was a reason you needed to see that then to possibly save your life, or to possibly save somebody else's life.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
you all of a sudden you see these signs and symbols popping up, and instead of continuing to drive, you get off the road, and boom, there's a runaway truck that goes through a stop sign and would have taken you and everybody in your car out.
So this is a real kind of thing that does happen.
It's in our second book. We have a man who sent us a dream. He said, I have this dream. It's not about health, but it is about life. And he said, I kept having this recurrent dream of sliding down a snowy hill in the car with my daughter. The car's going sideways. I'm seeing black ice, and then I see nothing, but I hear horns. And he says, all I can remember is seeing a stop sign and feeling the car turning and thinking to myself, I need to get off the road. And within 6 months, when it snowed, and there was a big snowstorm, and they shut down, the child wasn't even able to walk down to get onto the bus. The father decided to take the child to school, and he started seeing things showing up in the waking world that he had seen in that horrific dream. Got off the road, and the truck came screaming through sideways on the ice.
Wow.
Yep. And it saved his life. It saved his child's life.
So, all right. So what you're saying is it makes sense to get a little booklet, blank book, and then when you wake up in the morning and a dream is fresh in your mind, you just write it down.
Yes, that's it. Write it down. Write your dream down, and then go back and start underlining all the words that are important to you, or plays on words that you heard. Because another thing, and I know you know this, Roberta, our loved ones, when they pass over to the other side, they do not stay old and decrepit.
No,
nobody wants to be old and decrepit.
No,
not
they
even
get
over
gorgeous.
there.
That's right.
They look, they're prime, they're gorgeous. So if you've only seen your grandparents or great-grandparents when they were old, they may come into your dream as the 20-somethings, gorgeous 20-somethings, and talk to you. Their play on words sometimes will give you that hint when you're writing them down the next morning. Oh, my gosh, my grandma used to say that all the time. It probably was your grandma.
Yeah. I mean, they so now everyone is saying, well, how do we recognize them if they all look young? Well, we're told that in the afterlife realities, we recognize one another by our energies. It doesn't matter how we look. And I have to assume that's true because that's what all the dead tell us, although it's still hard for me to imagine, because here we are so focused on how people look and sort of the superficial things, but apparently it's different there. So that's all something to look forward to now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's why you want to write everything down in your journal, even if you think it's unimportant, because it could be very important later. And then you can go back and do what's known as dream tracking. And dream tracking is where you go back into your journals and you look for a dream that seemed to tell you something important because something that just happened triggered that dream.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a lot better if you happen to be someone who has dreams. I don't know. I wouldn't have much to journal about. But I can see that with all the information that you've gotten from dreams, and I can see that this is a very important area where we really have to talk more, especially as the veil continues to thin between this reality and the greater reality. More and more people are going to start to have these experiences, have these dreams, have the ability then, with your help, with the help of people who are expert in this area, to get this whole other window on what's actually going on. We live so blind, but this is another way for us to be in contact with our spirit guides, to understand much more of what is going on.
Absolutely. Yes, that's so true. And you know, we have to remember something else. For other people who are listening in and they're going, well, you know, Roberta, I don't dream either. We have daydreams. So I hear you. I understand. But we do have daydreams. And a lot of times what will happen is when we're having a daydream and our mind is wandering, we're sitting at our desk at work, our mind just kind of takes off and goes in its own little direction, it will walk over and open up a dream door. And it will show us little bits and pieces from a previous dream. And suddenly we're sucked into the dream again and we remember it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So a recurring dream, which I had one recurring dream in childhood, it was of a big house. I talked about this when I don't know, a while back we had some someone else who talked about dreams, and it was a happy place. It was a house I really liked. It was very familiar to me, even though it was this big fancy house. I didn't grow up in a fancy house, and I know I'd never been there in life. And things would change in the dream as I got older. I mean, what was outside was different, or that kind of, and many people I think have recurring dreams like that, of a familiar place or becomes a familiar place. What does that mean, if that happens?
I think, well, when people have told me about that, the same thing basically, and they said, but I never lived in that house. I've never been to that house. My first response is, but maybe you just didn't live in it in this lifetime.
I wondered about that. Yeah.
You can be remembering, because remember, we change bodies. But our spirit, our soul remains the same. It just inhabits a new body. And you may be remembering a life that you really, really enjoyed, or in some cases, a life that was really horrific. A lot of people will revisit those lives in this lifetime in their dreams. And one of the reasons that they do that is sometimes it can be triggered by meeting another person from that lifetime in this lifetime, and they need guidance on how to deal with that person. Maybe in this lifetime, they need to walk away from that person. Maybe in this lifetime, you don't marry them again. You know? Maybe in this lifetime, you say, once was enough, thank you very much, and you go and you find the right person for you.
Huh. So is this something people can learn to do then? Is this something you teach, or how to be in your dreams, how to be aware of your dreams, how to use them to get guidance in your life? Is it a way also to connect with your guides if you're having trouble doing that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's a way to connect with your guides. And like I said, just set that intention. They want to talk to you.
Big time.
And yeah, big time. And when you do say to them, I really want to connect with you in my dream world so that we can open a channel and communicate, and then they do communicate with you. Let's say they say something to you like, you need to get out of your chair. That's all you hear is, you need to get out of your chair. And you say, okay, I got nothing to lose. And you tell people, okay, I've got to use the restroom. I'll be right back. And you leave. And you come back and you find out that the ceiling fell in on your chair while you were gone. You just rewarded your guides. You sort of like when our parents used to say, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. And when you started doing what they said, you were rewarding them, and then they would give you more guidance. Well, your spirit guides are the same way. When you follow what they say, and they're never, ever going to tell you to do something that's hurtful or painful or against anything that you believe in this lifetime. So if you hear those voices, that's a whole different story, and that's a whole different radio show. But if you're hearing them say something like, go into the kitchen and get a glass of water, and you do it, you're rewarding them, and they're showing you, yes, the lines are open. We want to communicate. We're glad you're hearing us. We're glad that you're following our directions. Now let's get to work. And you'll really hear them a lot.
Wonderful points. Everyone understand, you can't be in a body without at least one spirit guide. This is the deal we make when we come in. The guide helps us plan our lives. The guide helps us hit our marks. Your spirit guide is your very best eternal friend. Loves you. They're always sort of more advanced than we are spiritually too. So these are people who know what they're doing and are trying to help us grow as well. So as you said beautifully, Kat, they're 100%, 1,000% on our side, and they won't suggest we do anything that is not in our best interest, but they will desperately try, no matter. And some people are very stubborn and sort of obstreperous with their primary guides. They do not want to obey. And I know, because I was in that position myself at one point, and I was balking, but they still try and they still love us. We have got to accept the fact that this is the best gift God gives us, is this guide who is our direct contact with the Godhead. So this is all good news. This is yet another way that we can be in close touch with our guides, another way that they can come into our lives and give us guidance and help and healing. I can't get over that they're able to point out diseases. Is it only cancer, or is it other kinds of diseases too?
Oh, other kinds, diabetes. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. There were diabetes. There was lung cancer. I guess that's cancer too. There were a number of other diseases that were not cancer that were in the first book, and this second book is going to have even more. And we're actually going to have animal communication in this second book. So we're branching out a bit more. The first book.
Talk about the second book. I didn't know about the second book. This is breaking news here. Let's talk about it.
Well, the second book, I'm actually working the book proposal on right now. And I would love to have your story about your horse visiting you in the dream.
It's a great one. It really is. Yeah, it was wonderful.
In this second book. And so this second book is going to focus a little bit less on cancer and a little bit less on breast cancer, although we do have breast cancer in there. And one of the things that we're focusing on is male breast cancer. We don't want to leave our guys out. And a lot of them had dreams about breast cancer and went, what? Are you kidding me? I don't have breast cancer. I have these little tiny things. But yes, they did. So they're going to be in the book.
Really? Wow.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So, we're going to have a lot of not just diseases, but also guidance through dreams that were then validated in the earth plane. And that's the big theme through both of these books, and there's probably going to be a third book, is it's not just that you're having a dream. It's that you're having a dream that is then validated one way or another on the earth plane, and that's what makes our books different from all the other books that are out there. That's what sent us right into a bidding war right off the bat. 2 weeks after the first book proposal went out, we were in a bidding war with 4 publishing houses.
How wonderful. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
Because we have the validation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is breaking. What I love, actually, is as the veil thins more, we are breaking new ground in a lot of different areas, and this is another way we are. If dreams are actually able to tell us things that we then find out later are true, and we can independently validate, well, then dreams are a lot more serious stuff than anybody ever realized before. That's very exciting. Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
And one of the chapters in the book that I found just absolutely fascinating, I mean, it just blows me away, and I'm not blown away easily, is the section that is dreaming for others, which was in our first book too, but it's going to be even bigger in this one. And in this section, people go to sleep, and let's say you go to sleep and you have a dream for your husband. And it doesn't have to be cancer. You could have a dream that says you need to go get a blood test because you have bacteria somewhere. Okay?
Yeah.
And you tell him that, and he goes, I feel fine. And you insist because, you're his wife, you love him, and so you make a real pain in the butt of yourself until he goes.
I do that anyway.
And when he goes, he finds that there is the very, very beginning of an infection that he picked up in some country 4 months ago, and because it was found so early, it's not a big deal. They just wipe it out. But those dreams I find absolutely fascinating.
Very much so. Oh, yeah, that is really great. Is it primarily people, though, that you're really close to emotionally, then, that you would be dreaming for them?
No. In the book, Dream, the one that I just did with Dr. Larry Burke, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases, we have total strangers. One of the stories in the book is this woman who who met a guy at an event. Just, met him, shook hands, and said, hi, well, I'm from Minnesota, too. And she has a dream that night of this guy's daughter that she didn't even know about, comes into the dream and says, would you please send my dad an email, because I know that this whole classroom exchanged emails, and tell him that on such and such a date at such and such a time he's going to have a heart attack. And so I want him to be aware of it so that he doesn't die. And she's so troubled by this dream that she sends him an email. Wow. And she says, she showed me your body, and you were turning like kind of green, and you were perspiring, and you dropped to your knees. And he's reading this, and he sends her back an email, because I have the emails in the book. They're actually in the book. And he goes, well, thank you very much, but I feel fine. And why would my daughter go and visit you in a dream and not me? And oh, by the way, I never told you about my daughter. How did you know? Oh, that should have been an alarm tone right there.
Shivers.
Well,
exactly.
On the date that she said, or about that time, all of a sudden he starts sweating and he starts shaking.
Oh,
and he drops to his knees and he grabs a hold of the phone, calls 911 as he passes out. And they get there in time to put him on the paddles, and they bring him back from death 3 times. If he hadn't gotten the email from the total stranger, he would have died.
But why didn't the daughter go to him?
Because he didn't dream.
Oh, okay. So if I have that problem, someone will have to come to Edward or somebody else. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, that is fascinating. One of the things I love about what we do is that we keep learning new things every single time. And I think that's why people tell me that they just love the people who are my guests, which I love my guests as well, because there's so much wonderful stuff that we have to learn. And thank you so much for teaching us all these new things.
Thank you for having me on here to do that. And for those people who are going, oh, that is just like too far out there. There's no way that can happen. Go to your computer and research the Asclepian dreaming temples of ancient Egypt, which was 6,000 years ago, and Rome 4,000 years ago. They had temples where if you had a problem and you couldn't figure it out, You went to the temple and you laid down on the hard floor next to a priest, and the priest would dream your solution and dream your dream for you. And here's another really great one, Roberta. It's in the Bible.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. There are dreams in the Bible. Oh, isn't that fun? This is so much fun, don't you think?
It is. I love it. I could do radio shows like this for 4 hours straight and just eat while I'm talking on the phone. That's how much I love it.
Noticed. You're very slick about that. Tell us, Kat, tell us what your website is.
There's a couple ways you can get there. You can go by Kathleen, Kathleen, O'Keefe, Okeefe, Canavas, Kana, V as in Victor, O S as in Sam.com, or you can just type in The Queen of Dreams, because I write for a number of magazines, and my column is The Queen of Dreams.
Oh, that's easy.
So it'll take you right to my website.
That's perfect. Okay. Well, we are, and they can reach you through your website, right? If people want to.
Yes, you can reach me if you've got a dream and you're not sure what to do with it. Send me an email, and I'm actually on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network every first and third Tuesday of the month. And people who send me emails, their dreams, I read them on the show and give them an interpretation for their dream or their dream question. If you don't have a dream but you've got a question, I will answer it on the show.
Yeah, we love Dream Vision 7 Radio. Seek Reality is there as well. So wonderful people doing God's work in the world. Well, thank you so much for being with us. And unfortunately, now we have to say goodbye. Everyone, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm delighted you were with us today. Please never forget that you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began, you never will end. And when you really get that, it really will change everything in your life for the better. Next week, we're going to be seeing for the second time, or maybe hearing from, Rob Blackburn. Rob is a fascinating young man. I know him personally. He's such a delight. And he's that rarest of birds today. He's a developing physical medium. We thought there were no more left, that they all had died 100 years ago. Not so. Rob has for years been developing his gifts under the close guidance of our terrific, wonderful friend, Dr. R. Craig Hogan. And I'm eager to share with you and to learn myself how he is progressing. This is a long process. So he's a very courageous young man that he's doing it. He's doing it for all of us. Some afterlife experts think that physical mediumship is going to be how we really are able to prove that human life is eternal. And if that's the case, I think Rob is going to be part of that solution. But in any event, he is a delightful, and he's a really very knowledgeable young man. He's a true friend of ours. So please join us next week. This week, we've been talking with Kathleen O'Keefe Kavanaugh, or Kat for short, who's an expert on dreams and dream interpretation. And her book is Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. This is a new area for me, and it astonishes me that information given in dreams can diagnose some of our bodily ills before doctors can do it. Is amazing to me. There's a vast store of mind power that we can access to some extent when we're here, but we have only a small, really minimal access to our vast eternal lives while we're in bodies. And one of the things that can happen when you're asleep is that your spirit guides can use that greater part of your minds that otherwise you can't access to give you information you wouldn't get in any other way. Our guides can use dreams to communicate with us. Everything, this is a whole new area of information and knowledge that we're only really, I think, beginning to better understand now. So bless Kat for being with us, and we'll have her back again when her new book comes out.
Thank you.
Oh, I wouldn't miss it. I can't wait. Next installment. But as you all know, my nonfiction books are Liberating Jesus, My Thomas, The Fun of Dying, The Fun of Staying in Touch, The Fun of Growing Forever, The Fun of Living Together, and soon The Fun of Loving Jesus. For young children, there's The Fun of Meeting Jesus, which is a beautifully illustrated book. If you want to talk about any of my books, or if you want to talk about anything at all, you always can contact me through the contact block on robertagrimes.com. I answer every email. It can take me a few days. But as long as you give me your email address, yes, you will get an answer from me. Past episodes of Seek Reality are on webtalkradio.net, realrevolutionradio.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and a bunch of other places, including the wonderful Dream Vision 7 radio family. And more people tell me now that they listen through the Seek Reality app that you can find for free in the iTunes App Store. And if you ever wonder where Seek Reality is available right now, just go to robertagrimes.com and click on the radio tab. If you enjoyed these conversations, you might also want to check out my blog, because there's more space, frankly, in a blog, and Thomas is right there with me. He actually does the thinking and the writing. So we can go more deeply into some of these issues than we can do just talking on the air. If you're interested in these topics, I think you'll find that the blog on robertagrimes.com, where there's something new every Sunday, I think you might find that will help you to think more deeply about your own life, where it's going, what's going on. My role in your life is just to help you get to the truth in a few years' time. It took me 5 decades to get here. I want, most of all, to help you arrive at the certainty that you are powerful, indestructible, eternal, and perfectly loved within as little as a year or two, because then you can spend the rest of your life growing spiritually even more into the infinitely powerful divine being that in fact you already are. Living in perfect love eternally is the very happiest you can possibly be. Meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality. And please always, always know that you in particular are a powerful, eternal being, and you, most of all, are infinitely loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.